Hello there, I'm Matthew Wright and welcome back to Inside Out London. A very happy new year to you. Here's what's coming up on tonight's show. We expose the illegal trade in stun guns and reveal how they're becoming the weapon of choice for London's gangs.
My gosh, if it goes into the neck, across the nerves here, you can just imagine the damage. Hit across the chest, anything could happen.
The mountain of food destined for landfill. We meet the charity recycling it to feed the most vulnerable.
It's a papaya. A free ripened papaya. It must have been imprisoned in a papaya cell somewhere. Yeah, it's been freed!
And is relocation to the north of England the answer to the capital's housing crisis?
The chances of me ever getting one in London was inch. Within the first couple of weeks, they'd offered me a flat round the corner.
Loaded with thousands of volts of electricity and designed to paralyse their targets, tasers and stun guns are so dangerous they fall under the same legal jurisdiction as firearms. Only the police and the secret services are allowed to carry them. But Inside Out has uncovered a deeply disturbing new trend. Criminals are illegally acquiring stun guns and using them to attack innocent members of the public. Mark Jordan investigates the growing black market in these potentially lethal weapons and reveals how the authorities are powerless to stop it.
Taser!
One step down from a gun, this is standard equipment for over 3,000 of London's police officers. And here's why.
Put a bat down!
Paralysed by 50,000 volts. The taser is the most powerful weapon in the hands of non-firearms officers. But now criminals are tooling themselves up with stun guns, 10, 20 times stronger. Robbers, drug dealers, muggers. Over the last few months, growing numbers of criminals have used stun guns to terrorise their victims.
They'd held him and they'd used the stun gun on genitals, on tongue, on head, face, to torture him for a period of time.
Former Chief Inspector Pete Kirkham was at the front line of policing the capital for over a decade. Still in close contact with the Met, he believes stun guns have become the weapon of choice for many criminals.
Stun guns have been used in armed robberies. They turned up in aggravated burglaries. They turned up in disputes between drug dealers. That's the range of serious crimes.
The police wouldn't tell us exactly how many illegal stun guns are on London streets, so we put in a Freedom of Information request. The results are alarming. Over the past 3 years in the capital alone, the police have seized around 500 stun guns and investigated over 200 cases involving use of the weapons. But the police accept these figures could be far higher. A former senior officer told us many crimes where stun guns are used go undetected, and that across the country there are at least 10,000 stun guns in the hands of criminals. One of these weapons was used in an attempted murder. Marcin Kasperzak buried his fiancée alive in this cardboard box. He managed to gag and tie her up after paralysing her with this stun gun. She escaped. Kasperzak is now serving 20 years in prison. In the UK, possession of a stun gun is illegal and receives the same penalty as owning a firearm, up to 10 years in jail. But this stiff sentence fails to deter many. Our investigation has uncovered a booming illegal black market where potentially hundreds of stun guns and tasers are being shipped into Britain every week. Most of these contraband weapons are being sold from overseas via dozens of internet sites. I'm buying one from a company based in Germany.
Here it tells you the effects. Half a second for a small shock causing muscle cramp. 4 to 5 seconds, they will fall down, become disorientated for a few minutes. This site knows I'm in the UK and yet it's selling me a completely illegal stun gun.
This is frighteningly easy and cheap, with no questions about age or criminal status. I've just bought a 500,000 volt stun gun. That's 10 times what the Met use with their tasers, and it's only cost me 60 quid. In this footage filmed on a mobile phone, two 15-year-olds from Camden display the stun guns they've recently bought online. Owning a stun gun's become such a status symbol amongst teenage gangs that they're now being glorified by urban rappers.
You can't have all these youngers running about stun guns. You cannot. You can have a 13-year-old, 14-year-old running around with stun guns. They stun everybody.
Now reformed, former convicted gangster Daryl James believes the growing appeal of illegal tasers for teenage gangs is a direct result of the crackdown on knife and gun crime.
As we move forward into the knife bans, the gun bans, people will find an alternative. It's stun gun today, CS gas, crossbows, whatever. It's the same problem we was having with guns a couple of years ago when you could get the mail order in this country.
Less than 4 days after I placed an order online, my stun gun has arrived. So here we have it, a potentially lethal weapon delivered in an ordinary cardboard box, a 500,000 volt stun gun, batteries included. The company have also thrown in an illegal free gift, pepper spray, enabling any potential criminals to momentarily blind their victims. I brought my purchase to a company who've spent the last decade training several police forces on how to use tasers safely.
When using a taser, it's best to deploy the barb around about the stomach area. Any higher than this, say the face and head area, you can actually cause major damage.
But it's not just how it's used, it's how it's made.
The taser is an engineered police product. It's got a timed discharge, it's got a specific voltage and ampage discharge.
Show me your hands.
So it's the safest possible way of allowing electromuscular contraction without fatal consequences.
So has my stun gun undergone the same quality control?
Oh wow, this is one heck of a brute, 500,000 volts. This is 10 times a taser. That thing is burning, and that's lightning. Horrendous tool.
But I've also brought along another stun gun. The voltage of this model is 1 million.
I don't believe he managed to get one of these. This is serious stuff. Yeah. My gosh. Now that is seriously dangerous. You're going to end up with skin burns for a start, and it's subcutaneous damage. If it goes into the neck, across the nerves here, you can just imagine the damage. Hit across the chest, anything could happen. I mean, if that doesn't end up killing someone, if it's put in the wrong place.
This just came through the post like the other one.
This has got to be stopped at source, getting through. It must be some way of screening mail properly to stop items like this coming through.
Tens of thousands of packages flood into Britain every day. The very latest figures from the UK Border Agency on stun gun seizures are 4 years old when they intercepted just 160 weapons. We'll be handing our stun guns into the police. Before doing so, we contacted the Home Office with our evidence. They declined to be interviewed, but in a statement they said,
"The UK Border Agency, Revenue and Customs and Police work together to target the importation of any illegal weapons and those who seek to bring weapons into the country."
But senior MP Keith Vaz believes the current situation is unacceptable.
I'm absolutely shocked that there are present on the streets of London and other cities these stun guns and tasers that are more powerful than the weapons that have been used by our police. How is it possible for someone to be able to go online and get a gun into this country through what we are told is one of the most sophisticated borders in the world? Clearly it's important that we take action to find out what's gone wrong, and I certainly intend to raise this matter with the head of the Border Agency and the Home Secretary when she next appears before the Select Committee.
There is a fear that with thousands of these illegal weapons circulating, unless authorities get a grip, criminals are going to have more stun guns than our own police have tasers.